So Season 1 of Battlefield 6 is only just around the corner now. It'll be here in just over 24 hours from now if I've got my time zones right. Anyway, and I genuinely think this season is going to change the game more than people are actually expecting for a multitude of different reasons. And so without wasting any time, let's get stuck into all of the nitty-gritty details from the content we're getting, the changes coming, and the potential for a shadow drop of the Battle Royale mode being referred to as RedSec. Now, just really quickly before we get into it, I've mentioned this a few times, but I'm actually starting a Battlefield 6 top 5 play series here on the channel that will hopefully be starting right around the start of Season 1, with each season having some giveaways for the winners like battle passes and some potential merch and stuff like that. And obviously, to start the series, I need you guys to submit your clips to be featured here on the channel, so be sure to head to the link in the description. The link will be there on this video and all videos moving forward. And if you guys get any good clips, be sure to submit those clips to be featured in an upcoming episode. Like I said, I'll be kickstarting it in Season 1, so be sure to get your clips in ASAP to essentially increase your chances of being featured. Now, firstly, we're going to start off with the actual content that we are getting in Season 1. I'm sure you guys probably know most of this already, but this is meant to be a big sort of summary of what's happening in Season 1, so I couldn't really not include the content. Now, if you missed it, I did actually cover a lot of this content last week because I was lucky enough to play Season 1 early and pretty much experience the majority of this content. So be sure to go and check all of that out, and all the gameplay in the background is what you can expect from all of this content. Now, the first update is obviously October 28th, so essentially tomorrow. And this update will be coming with Blackwell Fields, which is the sort of big open map that we're going to be getting, as well as the Strike Point 4v4 mode, which is honestly a lot of fun. It's kind of like Search and Destroy mixed with King of the Hill, and I had a lot of fun playing that. But then also getting the SOR 300SC carbine, which is essentially a carbine version of the SCAR. We're getting the Mini Scout sniper, which is kind of like a more agile type sniper, and a GGH-22 pistol as well, which is essentially just a regular Glock pistol. It's not that different than the rest that are currently in the game. On top of that, we're also getting a new vehicle and some attachments coming as well. Plus, we are obviously going to be getting the battle pass and stuff like that, with a ton of new skins and all that sort of stuff too. And potentially the shadow drop of the Battle Royale. However, this is just rumored for now, but that is potentially dropping tomorrow. But I've got a lot more on that at the end of the video. So if you are interested in the Battle Royale, be sure to stick around because there are some pretty interesting details about why people think this is actually going to be shadow dropped. Now, the next update during this season will then be November 18th. So for those who don't know, they're kind of splitting the seasons up into 3 different sections. So we'll get kind of 3 big content drops. The second one is, like I said, November 18th. And on this one, we're going to be getting the Eastwood map, which if you missed my preview from last week, I honestly think this might potentially be the best map in the game already. It is so damn good. I think it's going to be a fan favorite. We'll also be getting the Sabotage mode, which, if I'm being honest, I don't have as much praise about that as Eastwood, because this mode is kind of weird. It's not bad per se, but it's just kind of a strange mode. We're also meant to be getting battle pickups, which is pretty interesting. I have to assume this is similar to Battlefield 1, where you could pick up like the minigun and like there was like the anti-tank rifle and stuff like that. I have to assume that is what this is. They haven't really said anything about it. And we didn't get to play this, unfortunately, in the preview last week. We're also going to be getting a DB12 shotgun, the M357 trait revolver, and another new attachment as well. So a couple extra weapons. To be honest, a shotgun and a pistol don't really do that much for me personally. They're the least used weapons for me, but more content is obviously always a good thing. Lastly, we then have a final update on December 9th, which is pretty small at the end of the day. It's obviously leading right into Christmas, so they're probably going to be like heading on their break and stuff. I didn't expect this to be a big update, but we will be getting the Ice Lock Empire State map change, which essentially is just going to cover Empire State in snow. There's the Ice Lock limited time event, which we don't really know what that is. We don't know if that'll be a mode. We don't know if that might be something to do with the BR, if that has launched, or it might simply just be the Ice Lock event is actually just the map change. I'm not entirely sure. And we'll also be getting the Ice Climbing Axe as a melee weapon as well. So like I said, that is a pretty small update, but you would expect that right before Christmas. They always have smaller updates around then because a lot of the team are potentially heading away or may even already be on their break at that point. And so I think that gives them a bit of time to rest up after obviously a very busy year, and hopefully they can all rest up and get ready for a hopefully even bigger 2026. Now, before we get into some of the changes in the patch notes that they've already released, as well as, like I said, some of the discussions around RedSec, the potential BR mode, if you guys are interested in more Battlefield 6 content during Season 1, both regular Battlefield and the BR mode as well, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is going to be a hell of a lot of content throughout Season 1, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, moving on, like I said, they have already released the patch notes for Season 1. This is update 1.1.1.0, which is a bit of a mouthful, and the update itself will be going live at 9 AM UTC, which means all of the actual changes and the bug fixes and stuff will be going live at 9 AM UTC, but the Season 1 content, including like the Battle Pass and stuff, that'll be going live at 3 PM, so about 6 hours later. So just be aware of that. If you update the game and then you're like, where the hell was the Battle Pass and stuff, it won't be there right away. They are saving that just for a few hours later. Now, running through some of the major updates they've talked about, first and foremost, they said they have improved core movements and animations, including smoother landings, faster stance transitions, better vaulting behavior, and reducing the bouncing issues on landing or spawning. That is a very good change for me. Some of the animations are slightly clunky when it comes to the movement, just like, for example, if you're prone and like standing up and then trying to sprint, it is pretty slow and pretty clunky. I get that it's realistic, but it seems they're going to be fixing some of that stuff to just make it all transition a little bit nicer. And the bouncing issue, I think, is very frustrating. Sometimes you'll just walk over a rock and like bounce over it, so hopefully that gets fixed as well. They've also said they've reworked weapon dispersion to better align accuracy and handling with each weapon's intended design and performance over range. These changes address cases where accuracy behaved inconsistently, such as dispersion not properly settling after sprinting. So it turns out we were right. The video that I made on the bug with the sort of aim accuracy, it turns out that was right, and the community kind of guessed what was going on there. And they've also said they're bringing overall firing behavior closer to the intended balance between precision, control, and weapon power. They've also made significant visibility and lighting improvements with better exposure transitions, interior lighting, and reduced fog and smoke persistence. That is very good to see about the exposure transitions. Anyone who's played this game will know, if you're like in a building and you look out a window, sometimes the exposure is insane and it's like you can hardly even see what the hell's out there because it's so light. So hopefully that gets sorted with these fixes. They've also done an audio overhaul, some UI and HUD updates as well for some clarity and consistency, and just some general map fixes as well across multiple of the different maps, stuff like out of bounds issues and just some general stability across all of the main game modes. So that is pretty much it for the major updates when it comes to this update. I'm not going to go through all of them because I'll show on screen. I'll scroll through the entire patch notes. You can see there is a lot of stuff in here. If I remember, I'll try and leave that linked down below so that you guys can give it a read if you want. I've read through all of it and all of them are pretty good changes. They're all pretty small, but they're all pretty good and will hopefully make the game feel even better. Now, even though I said I'm not going to read through all of them, there is one change in here that I think actually kind of leans towards the BR being dropped. And there's also one other really good update that I wanted to mention. Now, firstly, they've said that they have added parachute customization for soldiers, which when you think about it, we cannot see our parachutes because it's a first-person game, but the leaks from the BR have shown you can actually be third person when you're flying down into the map, and obviously you're going to be using your parachute. So the fact that they're adding the parachute customization in here already, that kind of points towards the BR potentially dropping, because for regular multiplayer that is almost a pointless thing. Obviously it's cool to be able to customize your parachute anyway, but we can't really see it anyway. So to me that kind of points towards potentially some more ammo that the Battle Royale is actually dropping. Now, the next thing I wanted to point out as well is that they've said using sniper rifles with any class other than recon will no longer increase weapon spread. Instead, weapon sway will now begin during the zoom transition, maintaining balance and distinguishing recon's precision advantage. So for those who didn't know, the actual issue with the snipers, if you weren't playing as recon, there was actual weapon spread on snipers, which is absurd. I have never seen that in any game in my life. If you're using a sniper, the bullet should go essentially exactly where you're aiming, with obviously accounting for like bullet drop and stuff like that. But how it was, if you were playing like medic, for example, or support, and you were using a sniper, sometimes the bullets would not actually go where you're aiming, which is, yeah, insane. So I'm glad they fixed that, because that was a pretty big issue. Now, weirdly, there's no like weapon balancing in the patch notes either that I can see, which is kind of odd. I guess there's nothing like stupidly overpowered at the moment, but if you guys have been watching the gameplay in the background, the SCW-10 that you can see is kind of cracked even with a 15-round mag. And so there are definitely some weapons that are objectively better than others. It is a little bit surprising that they haven't done a little balance pass here, but hopefully early in the season they do a balance pass. Again, not that anything's stupidly broken or anything, but I think trying to stay ahead of that and make sure everything's balanced is obviously the way to go about it. Now, last but not least, like I said, we are going to quickly touch on the potential of this Battle Royale shadow dropping tomorrow. Apparently it is called RedSec. Now, I want to make all of this very, very clear. This is just like rumors as of right now. There is no confirmation of this, but it is definitely pointing towards this being the case. Now, before any of you guys say, well, you've played Season 1, so you're obviously hiding it. If I knew this was happening and I was under NDA, I would not be able to talk about it. So obviously, I don't know if this is happening or not. If I did know this was happening, I simply would not talk about it because I would be under NDA for it. They have not told us anything. Like I said, we got to play Season 1, but we did not hear one word about the Battle Royale. And so that does give me freedom to talk about it because it means I'm obviously not under NDA. I don't know if this is happening or not. So I can only talk about the rumors, assuming they're real, but they may not be real. So we will get into all of that. Now, this has been sort of rumored for a while now. And if I'm honest, I didn't think it was going to be launching tomorrow up until about, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago now. The date of October 28th was rumored ages ago. And I sort of just thought, I don't think that's going to happen because I knew that we were going to be playing Season 1 a little bit early and they didn't mention anything about the BR. So I just thought, well, that doesn't make sense. But this is just constantly coming up over and over again. Now, Modern Warzone, who is a guy who has essentially built a Twitter account surrounding like Warzone rumors and leaks and stuff like that. He tweeted on the 24th of October saying, breaking, a new content drop for Battlefield 6 that is not Season 1, codenamed Granite, with the release date of October 28th has been data mined from the EA app. I think it's safe to say this is the Battlefield 6 Battle Royale. Thanks to One Battlefield for sending the info over to me. Now, one thing to note is in this image you can see here, which is the official art from Season 1. This is official at this point. They have actually posted this themselves. Over to the left there, you can see a Chinook, which we know is not in the game. There is no Chinook helicopter that is available in the game, and they haven't said that it's coming in Season 1 or anything. The transport helis in this game are obviously Black Hawks, they're not Chinooks. And so the fact there is a Chinook there, which we have seen in the leaks for the Battle Royale, the fact that is in the artwork for Season 1 is almost a dead giveaway that this is probably happening. It could obviously just be a random asset, but if you guys have been following DICE for a long time, especially back to the Battlefront days, well, you'll know that most of the time something that's in an asset, an officially released asset, is generally there for a reason. Shout out to my Battlefront fans who can remember the crashed speeder, aka the Droideka, in one of their posters for a Battlefront piece of content. So the fact that there is a Chinook in this image, to me, that is like borderline a guarantee that this is going to drop on the 28th, or at least at some point in Season 1. Because like I said, there are no Chinooks in regular multiplayer, but the only place we've seen them is in the leaks for the Battle Royale. Now that is obviously just one tweet, but very notable leaker Tom Henderson, who is from Insider Gaming or founded Insider Gaming, he has then also tweeted about a day later saying Battlefield RedSec is Battlefield 6's new Battle Royale mode with a whole article on it. So again, generally speaking, when Tom Henderson says something, it's not like he's always right every single time, but he is very rarely incorrect when it comes to leaking stuff. That's why his name is so sort of infamous within the gaming industry now, because generally speaking, what he says comes true. So all signs point to the Battlefield BR being shadow dropped tomorrow. Now again, this may not be real. I've seen games in the past do stuff like this where they actually fake leaks and they'll tell one part of the studio one thing, they'll tell another part of the studio another thing, and then when the leaks start to come out, they can actually sort of whittle that down to, okay, we told this part of the studio that it was going to be October 28th, and now the leaks are saying the 28th, so we know someone in this camp has leaked this story. That is a thing that can happen, right? So this could be fake and they could actually be trying to rat out their own leakers. I highly doubt that is the case, but again, I just have to say all of this with a grain of salt. We don't know for sure this is coming, but I would say all signs definitely point towards the BR launching tomorrow, which is insane. I actually thought this was going to be like early next year, not in Season 1. So it's going to be an interesting time. I'm sure that when the season actually drops, there will probably be a trailer announcing this. If this is legit, they're not going to just fully shadow drop it without any marketing. They will obviously have a trailer and stuff, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I will definitely be covering any and all content, not only on the BR, but obviously the regular game as well. And I also should be streaming Season 1 just over 12 hours after it actually goes live. So if you guys want to tune in and either watch some Season 1 content, or if the BR has dropped, I'll probably be playing the BR. Be sure to tune into that stream. That should be a lot of fun. And yeah, hopefully I'll see a lot of you guys there. But that is going to do it for essentially a big overview of what you can expect from Season 1 in Battlefield 6. There is a hell of a lot of content on the way, guys. So if you are interested in Battlefield 6, both the regular game and the BR, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's going to be a lot of guides, a lot of fun content. Like I said, the top 5 plays is coming. I'm going to be doing weapon breakdowns and everything. We're going to get fully into the swing of Battlefield 6, so make sure you don't miss out on any of it. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.